Hi, this is Carrie, Christ-centered counselor and life coach with Promise Coaching. Today we're going to talk about narcissistic parents and how the dynamic with narcissistic parents plays out in life and into adulthood. So there might be two narcissistic parents or one narcissistic parent. And I'm going to talk about what this looks like for the scapegoated child. Now, in some cases, there can be two narcissistic parents and the child is the scapegoat. And in some cases, there can be one narcissistic parent where one child is the scapegoat or even the spouse is the scapegoat. So there can be a variety of dynamics in this situation of a narcissistic family. But today I want to talk about the scapegoated child, and usually this happens when there is more than one child in the family, but sometimes it can happen with the only child of the family. So it just depends. There is no rule on how this dynamic plays out. It all just comes down to how the narcissist or narcissists want things to be in their family system according to their manipulative, controlling ways. So the scapegoated child in particular is a child that is often hyper-criticized, put down on a regular basis, and made to feel small throughout their childhood. And so the scapegoated child grows up trying to reach a bar that they can never reach, because no matter what they do or how well they do it, it is never good enough. And the scapegoated child often will receive backhanded compliments, meaning you are so good at that, but you really could be so much more if basically you weren't such a screw up in this area or that area, or if you just saw things my way because you don't really know. So the narcissist always believes that their ways are better and higher than yours. Essentially, narcissists see themselves as God, and so they think that their way is the only way, and if anybody is doing something differently or another way, well, it is going to be scrutinized and put down, and there will be no credit given to that person. If that person has a better way of doing something, there will be no acknowledgement. Or if that person is excelling at something that they didn't think they would excel at, they are going to continue to scrutinize and criticize and say, well, even though you may have excelled in this, you would have been so much better over here or over there or wherever they wanted you to be or go in life. And sometimes this can look like a narcissistic parent projecting all of their goals and ambitions onto the scapegoated child. Sometimes it can just look like the scapegoated child is just naturally more talented than the narcissist or the narcissistic parent or parents. And so this is a threat to their own self-image of being better than everyone else in whatever area they feel threatened in. So see how this always comes back to ultimately the narcissist's deep insecurities in themselves. And so narcissists tend to have an outward appearance of being very confident and even in a lot of cases arrogant, and seem like they have all this high self-esteem, which they do technically have high self-esteem because it's all about self and esteeming themselves all of the time. But deep down, they are extremely wounded and deeply insecure people. And so you'll find in a family situation where you're in family events or functions or gatherings where the narcissistic parents will, instead of sharing the positive things that you've done growing up or in your life now, they want to paint you in a negative light or in a way that makes them look good. And so doesn't matter at what cost or expense they're doing this, if they can either lift you up and compliment you in a way that makes them look better or them look good, they will do that. Or if it means saying something negative about you and putting you down to make them seem like they're looking better or like they're this savior of a parent, whatever it might be, they will do that as well. The narcissist always wants to get the glory for whatever part they have played in your life as the parent. So whether that means putting you down and speaking negatively to you and about you, or complimenting you in a way and then giving themselves the credit for anything that you've done or accomplished, they will do that as well. This can go any way with the narcissist, depending on how they're going to lift themselves up and make themselves look good and better to you and to other people. So that way you understand the place that they have in your life, and they want to receive as much credit and glory for it as possible. And in a lot of cases, if they aren't receiving that from you, they will be deeply offended and continue trying even harder to belittle you and make you feel less than, so that way they can have control over their influence over you. And that way, or they'll try even harder to reel you in by offering all of these things that they can do for you in order to control and manipulate you as well. They want you to believe that you need them in some way, and according to the way they believe that you should need them. Because if it's outside of their rule book and what their expectations and standards are of you in the dynamic of that relationship, then you'll receive rejection from the narcissist. And this is how they discard. So even narcissistic parents discard the scapegoated child or their own children who are not abiding in what they expect and what they want up to their standards. And they can discard you by discontinuing communication from you, excommunicating you from the family. They can discard you by causing division between you and the other family members. Essentially, this is an attempt to get you excommunicated from the family. And they will say and share whatever they want to share in order to create this dynamic where you are being discarded because you're not complying with the status quo. The scapegoated child is often the child that sees through their BS, that sees the truth about the dynamic of the situation, sees what is going on. And so when the scapegoat is bringing these things to awareness or acknowledging that this is what is happening and speaking up about it and saying something, then the narcissistic parent or parents suddenly feel extremely threatened. Their character has been threatened because they realize that it is being exposed by the scapegoated child. And so as soon as they see that happening, that their own behavior is being exposed and brought to light by the scapegoated child, they will do whatever possible to make the scapegoated child look like they have mental problems, they are the issue, they are the problem of the family, they are the black sheep, whatever you may have. This is what they do. And the more you speak up and the more you bring their dysfunctional behavior to light, the harder they are going to try and make you look bad in the family. They are going to criticize and gossip about you as much as they can and try and get the rest of the family to see things the way they do. And the truth is, they don't really truly see you in such a negative way. They actually, deep down, they know how incredible you are. They see what an authentic, genuine person you are. And because they know deep down that they're really not an authentic, genuine person, and that they put up this facade for others because of their own deep wounds and insecurities, they are threatened by that real, genuine authenticity, mainly because the contrast shows and exposes their inauthenticity and their selfish, biased, discriminatory behaviors. So if you are the scapegoated child and you are in a narcissistic family system with one or more narcissistic parents, some of the things that you can do to avoid more trauma beyond what you've already endured from this family, is to limit your communication from them. If you still want to have a relationship with them or need to have a relationship with them, you can still limit your communication with them. You don't need to engage in their chaos, in their dysfunctions, in their gossips. You don't need to be a part of that dynamic. And when there are two narcissistic parents, they play off of each other and feeding each other's egos by using the scapegoated child as a pawn. And it is just a horrible thing to be a part of. But whether one parent is an overt narcissist and the other one is a covert narcissist, that is a typical situation of two narcissistic parents. Or both are overt narcissists, which can be very volatile. The scapegoated child is used as a pawn in these dynamics by both parents, not just one. So that child does not have a safe parent that they can go to. And this can make it really, really difficult on a scapegoated child. So limiting your interaction with your narcissistic parents is the best thing that you can do if you are willing to continue having a relationship with them. And setting healthy boundaries for yourself with them as well. So you can set boundaries like, I'm limiting my phone time with them to 10 minutes a conversation, because the longer you stay on the phone with them, the more their manipulative behavior comes out and the more time they get to try and get you to engage with their narcissistic behavior. You can also set boundaries like when you're having family functions. Maybe you have separate holidays from them. Maybe you guys don't get together for holidays. Or if you do, it's in a public place rather than someone's home. So that way they may be on better behavior in public versus under your roof or theirs. So those are just a few things that you can do to avoid further injury in your relationship with a narcissistic parent or parents. I hope this was helpful. And if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to this channel, and you'll see more videos like this. Take care.